Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Ram Rama Rama Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parikakacharya Sutaraswata Sri Srimad Divine Grace, by Sararavinda Bhaktimarga Swami, Jai Guru Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Gauri Vaishnava Guru Parampara Ki Jai, the Sangha Ki Jai, all glory to the devotees,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, some devotees, all glory to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga.
Shri Guru Shri Gauranga.
Just a quick introduction. We're very honored and very pleased to be assembled here today at the glorious temple of Shri Shri Radha Manohar to witness the initiation ceremony conducted by His Holiness Bhaktimarga Swami upon his accepting two new disciples, Bhaktin Natalia and Bhaktin Zoya. Very, very sincere devotees. We're very happy that they've taken shelter. We're very dedicated servants of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada. And so we are very happy for them. And of course, we wish them all success in their spiritual progress. They will be under the guidance of a very dedicated disciple of Prabhupada. So everyone is very happy on this glorious occasion. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for joining us. Hare Krishna. Okay, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, and it's a pleasure. I feel like I'm in the temple on Peanut Boulevard. It's been so many months since I've been there with you. Thank you very much, Gokulananda Prabhu, and for helping these devotees and steering them in the right direction. I'm taking the responsibility to give formal diksha to these two devotees, but we want to let everybody know that it's actually all of you, Gokulananda, you and your companions there that are shaping and making these devotees flower and blossom into like lotuses. And I'm just doing a little job here, by changing the name and dropping in occasionally. So I can't take much credit. But we will begin. Thank you for the nice kirtan. And we'll just start off with a verse from the Bhagavad Gita and the purport. I don't know if I need to get it translated, but I can say it slowly. Would that be okay with everybody?
Good.
Yeah.
Well, they all understand English.
Maharaj, there was a plea to translate. If you could make pauses, I would be able to translate to Russian-speaking
Thank you,
audience.
And what is your good name?
My name is Dmitry.
Mitsri. Okay.
Dimitri.
Demetrius?
Dimitri.
Okay, something. So Dimitri, what I'll do is I'll just read line by line, okay? We'll take it from there. All right. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Paricharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. Thank you very much for listening. I will take a verse from chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, and it's text number 7. Go ahead, Dimitri, translate.
Глава 2, текст номер 7 из Бхагавад-гиты.
Okay. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Translation.
Теперь я потерян в моих обязанностях и прошу тебя твоих наставлений, что мне делать.
Purport by His Divine Grace H Bhaktimarga Swami Prabhupada. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone.
Материальная деятельность — это источник сложностей для каждого.
In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life.
На каждом шаге нас встречают разные сложности, и это все подталкивает нас к поиску и к встрече с нашим духовным учителем, который будет нас наставлять.
All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire.
Все ведические учения наставляют нас принять убежище лотосных стоп мастера, который освободит от этих материальных сложностей.
They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone.
Эти сложности, они подобны лесному пожару, который горит независимо ни от кого.
Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion.
И эти сложности появляются независимо от того, хотим мы этого или нет.
No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed.
Они в любом случае появляются и вводят нас в очень большое заблуждение и запутанность.
The Vedic wisdom, therefore, advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach the spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession.
И в связи с этим ведические учения нас наставляют принять убежище духовного мастера, который принадлежит к духовной парампаре.
A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything.
Духовный мастер должен знать все.
One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach the spiritual master. That is the purport of this verse.
И в связи с этим ищущий должен принять убежище лотосных стоп духовного учителя, и в этом и является смысл данного стиха.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we'll say a few things for both Natalia and also Bhakti Zoya. I assume she's on the call, and for all the other devotees there. Is that okay? Good. So we'll start by saying that there couldn't be anything more profound than what Prabhupada is speaking about here, about the perplexities of life.
Мы обсудим то, о чем говорит Прабхупада, обсуждая сложности духовной жизни в данном отрывке.
Like this morning, I was sitting down with a group of devotees during the Bhagavatam class, and we were talking about offenses that we commit knowingly and unknowingly.
Этим утром я с группой преданных обсуждал оскорбления, которые мы можем совершать знанием или незнанием.
Well, to give an example of unknowingly committing offenses, like you'll be walking on the street and you'll probably be stepping on some ants and you don't know about it. You're not aware.
Один из таких примеров оскорбления аппарат — это по незнанию, это когда вы идете по улице и можете, не зная того, наступать на муравьев.
However, at the same time, we are knowingly committing offenses because it's almost like every time you do something, you are killing life, you are offending someone. It cannot be helped. It's just part of life. We hurt somebody, we offend them, we make it hard for others.
И таким образом мы совершаем оскорбления для тех живых существ, которым мы наносим какой-то вред, просто живя. То есть мы, не осознавая это, тем самым мы их оскорбляем.
So knowingly, we are unknowingly hurting someone, and also knowingly, we are also knowingly hurting someone somewhere. So we're always hurting someone. That's the point.
И, в общем, смысл в том, что мы знаем то, что, не осознавая этого, мы причиняем вред другим.
Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain that a person who doesn't understand the perplexities of life more or less lives in this world like a cat or a dog who just goes more or less on instinct and love and fear, but doesn't understand the ultimate goal of life.
И Прабхупада это сравнивает человек, который не осознает вот тот причиняемый вред, он подобен кошке или собаке, и это не ведет к конечной цели жизни.
So people approach a spiritual master to lessen the perplexities, the problems.
И люди находят прибежище духовного мастера, чтобы уменьшить эту запутанность, эту сложность в жизни, чтобы он помог разобраться в этом.
However, the problems will remain as long as you have a physical body with a materialistic mind. There will be problems.
Но поскольку и до тех пор, пока мы находимся в материальном теле, все эти проблемы и сложности, они будут вместе с нами.
And in fact, sometimes the way Krishna operates, he will send, let's say, he'll test you. He'll still present perplexities or problems. He is just testing to see, are you strong enough to deal with it? And in other words, he's saying, please accept my try to pass these exams, these tests, so that you'll come out stronger.
И все эти сложности, на самом деле, их дает нам Кришна с целью нас протестировать, сможем ли мы их пройти, и с целью сделать нас сильнее. То есть это его благословение проявляется таким образом.
Let's take the example right here from Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is bewildered, and God is right there with him. How is it that when God is standing right before him, and Krishna is in front of him, by the way, because he's holding the reins of the horses, that Arjuna will still have or perceive problems?
Давайте возьмем пример из Бхагавад-гиты. Кришна стоит перед Арджуной и держит поводья. Как это, когда Кришна стоит напрямую перед тобой?
And after all, Krishna is in the core of everyone's heart. And so while he's with us as a dear friend, you would think that, oh my Lord, you are all powerful. Can't you just like taking a pill, just take out all the pain of life?
И в то же время Кришна находится в сердце каждого, он лучший друг каждого. И хочется спросить, о Господь, а почему ты просто не можешь забрать всю эту боль, которая у нас есть, просто этим фактом?
Well, everyone knows that a material solution, like taking a pill, you can remove the pain, but at the core there might be still, let's say, problems that aggravate pain.
И каждый знает, что можно принять лекарство, и оно, болеутоляющее, и оно уберет боль, но в основе боли лежала какая-то проблема всегда. И эта проблема только ухудшится.
So the source of all of our problems, our desire, that is expressed in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. It's desire, it's kama, that is kind of like chewing us up, consuming us, and then spitting us out.
И в основе этой проблемы внутри нас как раз лежит наше желание или кама, которое нас поглощает и переваривает, и выбрасывает, делает ненужным.
Now, it's not that wanting something is necessarily bad, because it is a symptom of the soul to want something, to hanker for something, to desire.
Наше желание — это не значит, что это плохо, потому что это симптом нашей души что-то желать.
But if we have a desire that is separate from Krishna, then problems begin. We should not separate the symptoms of the soul with the desires of God.
Но проблемы начинаются тогда, когда наше желание начинает расходиться с желанием служения Богу.
Good. So the point is that Krishna is there with Arjuna, and Krishna was there to help Arjuna pass the examinations.
Таким образом, Кришна находится рядом с Арджуной для того, чтобы помочь ему сдать этот экзамен жизни.
Krishna is providing Arjuna the ammunition, the strength, the ability to overcome our perplexities.
Кришна дает Арджуне снаряжение, амуницию, чтобы справиться с этими сложностями в экзамене.
Just like if, say, Gokulananda, he asked Dimitri, can you please shovel the snow in the front of the temple? And then if Dimitri says, well, how can I do it without a shovel? And then you have a good point.
Если бы Гокулананда спросил Дмитрия меня, что ты не мог бы расчистить снег у входа, но я бы сказал, если у меня нет лопаты, то как я могу это сделать?
Or let's say if you start a nice garden under the apple tree there, in the temple courtyard there, you need some tools to work with. Tools are necessary.
Или если бы, к примеру, вы бы хотели посадить дерево в саду рядом с храмом, вам бы понадобились какие-то инструменты, чтобы это сделать.
So what are the instruments or what are the tools that we use to, let's say, stave off Maya, to keep illusion as far away as possible? What are those tools?
И какие же эти самые инструменты, которые нам позволяют держать Майю далеко от нас на расстоянии?
Well, it's basically, it's the attitude that what counts, the attitude, the will to submit to Krishna's desire, to surrender.
В первую очередь это наше отношение, наше желание предаться желанию Кришны.
Attitude is subtle, desire is also subtle. It's not something tangible that you necessarily hold in your hand like a book, you know, but it is a subtle, these are subtle instruments that we need to use.
Эти инструменты, они тонкие, они не ощущаются материально. И вот это наше желание, это наше отношение, это тонкие инструменты.
And basically spiritual life begins with Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and chanting the glories of what are important about Krishna, Krishna's world, Krishna's devotees, and so on.
И наша духовная жизнь начинается со Шраваном и Киртаном. Это слушать и воспевать имена Бога вместе с преданными.
So, on the other hand, we do use physical tools, like we use our tongue and we use our upper and lower lips to chant Krishna's name. And then the ear is used for hearing what's coming out of our mouth or what's coming out of someone else's mouth. So we do use instruments, but we use them for Krishna.
Но в то же время мы используем и материальные инструменты, такие как наш язык и наши губы, чтобы произносить имена Бога, наши уши.
Good. So just imagine you've got this vast land. It's north of Delhi in India, and it's south of the Himalayan mountains. It's relatively flat land, and there's millions of people that have come together, two armies, and Krishna is now simply saying, before we fight, before we go to war, just listen.
Представьте поле, большое поле на юге Гималаев, это север Индии, и миллионы людей там собрались, и Кришна им говорит: «Итак, слушай».
Good. And as a follow-up, Arjuna practiced what we called kirtanam. Basically, he was asking questions after Krishna would deliver some message. Then back and forth they're going. And Krishna saying something, Arjuna saying something. It was a beautiful conversation.
И получается так, что Арджуна практиковал киртан, задавая вопросы и получая ответы, и так продолжая эту дискуссию.
In fact, it's probably the most famous conversation on planet Earth between Guru and disciple, that is, Krishna and Arjuna.
И фактически это самая известная дискуссия на весь мир. Это дискуссия между гуру и его учеником, между Кришной и Арджуной.
At least we can safely say that 1 billion people on the planet are fairly familiar with the communication between these two persons.
Можно сказать, что 1 миллиард человек знакомы с этим диалогом.
And now those numbers are increasing because of the devotees in the Hare Krishna movement. They are sharing this wisdom with other people that don't know about it.
И это количество людей только растет, потому что преданные в сознании Кришны распространяют это знание с другими людьми.
Yeah, 2 days ago, devotees just around the world just completed a book distribution marathon of sharing the message of the Bhagavad Gita.
Несколько дней назад преданные закончили марафон распространения книг Прабхупады, распространяя знания Бхагавад-гиты.
And in Canada alone, we distributed in that period a few weeks, within a few weeks' time, about 23,000 Bhagavad Gitas.
И за несколько недель мы в Канаде распространили 23 тысячи Бхагавад-гит.
Jai. So I guess for that we can say Haribol. And Montreal participated in that. Thank you so much. Yes, the pledges were made and devotees stuck to their pledges. In most cases, temples went beyond their pledge figure.
Были поставлены определенные ожидания, и храмы превзошли их.
Jai, Haribol. Okay, so when Prabhupada would initiate someone, he would oftentimes talk about, the chanting process, how it was important, and how to make sure the chanting can be executed as pure as possible.
Когда Прабхупада давал инициацию кому-то, в первую очередь он говорил о важности чистого воспевания.
So when we're chanting, usually like in a temple atmosphere, devotees are chanting with devotees around them who are also chanting.
Когда мы воспеваем в храме, мы это обычно делаем в кругу преданных.
And the mood or the spirit of chanting in such an environment is that here are some great souls who are trying their very best to make spiritual progress, to evolve.
И настроение в этот момент такое, что каждый пытается стремиться показать лучшим образом, приложить максимальные усилия в духовной жизни.
So therefore, I'm in a very good spot. I'm in a very good space, which is very conducive for my advancement as well.
И таким образом я в самом лучшем месте, которое может быть, чтобы мне, в свою очередь, тоже продвинуться максимально хорошо.
So it is said that in the list of offenses, 10 in number, the most important one is where you must avoid being highly critical of others who are on the spiritual path.
И таким образом, из всего списка оскорблений самое опасное, когда мы принимаем критическую позицию по отношению к тому, кто на духовном пути.
Yeah, we can never be critical of people who are trying, but we can never be too critical for those who are not trying so hard. But our critique should lie mostly with ourselves. What am I doing?
Мы не должны быть критичны к тем, кто делает попытки. И также мы не должны быть сильно критичны к тому, даже кто не делает никаких попыток духовности. И в первую очередь мы должны быть критичны по отношению к самим себе.
That's one of the reasons why it's good to have a guru or a mentor. And I say that also plurally because most of us advance because of the help of many people, not just one. It's important to have that person, that guide, because it's hard to make advancement on oneself, even if one is chanting. Chanting helps, but we need direction, always, guidance.
Поэтому очень благотворно иметь гуру и наставников, и речь о множественном числе. Это крайне сложно пройти этот путь без ошибок самим по себе, без внешнего наставления.
When you make an offense towards someone, you are building a fence that doesn't need to be there.
Когда вы совершаете оскорбление кого-то, вы таким образом создаете это оскорбление, которое не должно быть.
Good, good. So what we wanted to say is that those of you who get initiated into the ISKCON Society, Prabhupada's movement, you are making a special connection with Prabhupada.
Для тех, кто инициируется в ISKCON, у тех создается особое отношение с Прабхупадой.
Yes. So Srila Prabhupada is what we call the founder Acharya, Sanstapaka Acharya. That means he founded this institution, this house, if you will, and he is the boss, and he remains the boss.
Прабхупада мы в ISKCON называем учитель-основатель, то есть он является боссом в ISKCON.
And people like myself and people like Gokul and Anubhava, others, we're like little gurus, little, small people trying to help our big ultimate father, Prabhupada.
И мы, я, Гакулананда или Анубхава, мы являемся гуру немножко меньшего порядка в сравнении с Прабхупадой.
Yes, that is a bright way of looking at or approaching this initiation, that we have a special link with Parampara, with Prabhupada as the most recent big acharya, and then that will take us, if we follow that system, the system of less perplexity will take us to the lotus feet of Krishna.
Это добрый, приятный способ смотреть на то, как мы связаны с этой парампарой и как мы принадлежим к этой системе. Если мы полностью ей отдадимся, то она нас приведет в итоге к лотосным стопам Господа.
So we have to approach this diksha in a very realistic way. It doesn't mean that the guru is there and is going to wipe out all your problems and challenges. They will keep coming. Don't worry, they will come. You don't even have to think about it. They'll just come of their own accord. They will just come.
И мы должны принять прибежище у гуру и не надеяться, что гуру уберет все сложности нашей материальной жизни. Они обязательно придут и дальше.
By connecting with a guru, it's like having a coach. say like you're on the soccer ball team or something like that, or whatever volleyball team, and you have a coach, someone who's training you how to make the moves, you know, how to make the volleys, how to serve, and all those things, so that you know, you can be a better player, and in this case, a better player in life.
Принятие гуру — это подобно принятию футбольного или теннисного тренера, который будет наставлять, как правильно двигаться, как лучше действовать в игре жизни.
You know, having a guru is like someone who teaches you how to be like a pilot. You know, he'll sit in the pilot's seat, and then he'll show you how to take off, how to fly, and how to land.
Принятие гуру подобно инструктору пилотажа, который будет сидеть рядом с вами и указывать, наставлять вас, как правильно взлетать, как лететь, как делать приземление.
Mm-hmm. And then at some point in time, the pilot will go into the passenger seat, and then the passenger goes into the pilot's seat and watches carefully for the takeoff, the fly-through, and the landing.
И в какой-то момент инструктор по пилотажу, он займет пассажирское место и будет просто молча смотреть, как вы это все делаете сами.
So Srila Prabhupada was saying like that. Ultimately, we have to fly our own plane, but we have to remember all the instructions that the Guru gave us.
Шрила Прабхупада говорит, что в конечном итоге мы сами будем управлять нашим самолетом, но мы должны следовать всем инструкциям, которые нам дал наш наставник.
Now, one of your devotees there in the Montreal community, she has a son who went for his pilot's license. And on the first day, his first flight alone, there were mechanical problems.
У одной из преданных сын в Монреале брал уроки пилотажа, и в первый же день были какие-то проблемы с самолетом механические.
So he was in the air, and then he detected there's trouble with the mechanism, you know, and so what to do, you know, this it was serious, like a life-threatening situation.
Они летели, и в этот момент он увидел, что здесь какие-то механические проблемы. Это была ситуация угрозы жизни.
Now, I don't know if he was chanting very much, but all I know is that he was trying to remember all that he learned from his flying guru as best as he could. And fortunately, he landed on a snowbank or a haystack, something like that, one of the two. And he was saved.
Я не уверен, знал ли он уже тогда, как молиться Богу и повторять святые имена, но он очень хорошо вспомнил все наставления своего инструктора, и в итоге это его спасло, они приземлились куда-то на снежную какую-то площадку.
So sometimes on the spiritual journey on the trail, there will be casualties on the royal road, Prabhupada said. There will sometimes be difficulties that we will encounter.
И таким образом на нашем духовном пути также будут такие подобные сложности, с которыми мы неизбежно столкнемся.
And you know, sometimes we've seen devotees run into spiritual problems, but then that happens sometimes. But one has to revert back to the instructions from the Guru and all the well-wishers, and just kind of pick up. Like if you slip on the ice, fall down, what do? Just lie there? No, you get up. You know, you grab, it might be slippery, you grab onto a branch or a building, but you get yourself slowly up and you continue on.
На нашем духовном пути неизбежно появятся эти сложности, и таким образом мы также должны вспомнить духовные наставления нашего гуру. Это подобно тому, как если бы мы подскользнулись и упали, мы не должны отчаиваться или расстраиваться, мы должны встать, приободриться, возможно, найти, за что мы можем схватиться, чтобы встать и идти дальше.
Yes, so Prabhupada is Again, I would like to reiterate, he's our principal guru, and we read his books. We hear him. There's many recordings from him. We take shelter of him. And then, because he said, I've given you everything. So Krishna is everything. And all that we know about Krishna is sufficient for our spiritual progression. So it's again, Prabhupada sets the standard for us.
И таким образом мы принимаем прибежище Прабхупады. После него осталось много книг, много записей, и мы продолжаем это все впитывать. И Прабхупада сказал, что Кришна — это все, и мы следуем Прабхупаде.
And, sometimes we hear people get a little critical, even the mind becomes a little critical. They said, well, okay, Prabhupada is pure, but I don't think you're pure. I don't think you, the current contemporary guru, I don't think you're pure, but that's the way the mind thinks. But Prabhupada's pure, I don't have a problem with that. And the entire parampara. But I don't know about you. You're born in Canada. Anybody from Canada can't be pure.
И иногда мы принимаем критическую позицию, что да, Прабхупада, он чистый, преданный, и вся парампара чистая, а вот ты конкретный гуру, я не уверен, что вы чистый. И таким образом, вот иногда это так действует наш ум, это его проявляется эффект.
So if that challenge ever comes to you, we simply have to reason like this. The rationale is, okay, Prabhupada is pure, but whoever follows him is on the pure path. And therefore, I am assured of safety and deliverance from this world.
И в такой ситуации мы должны принимать следующую позицию. Да, Прабхупада чистый и преданный, и любой, кто следует по его следам, кто следует за ним, он также является на чистом пути преданности.
So just recently, someone came to me and they expressed that they're having lots of problems. And I was simply saying to them, oh, yes, Arjuna, you're playing the role of Arjuna. So what is your problem? Submit to Krishna and many difficulties are alleviated. In fact, all will ultimately be alleviated. Follow Krishna.
Недавно ко мне обратился тоже один преданный с проблемой. Я обратился к нему как к Арджуне. Я говорю, ты играешь сейчас роль Арджуны, и предайся Кришне, и все твои проблемы, они будут облегчены.
Yeah, so we'll always be playing the role of Arjuna in the sense that we will have questions and we'll have moments of weakness. So you don't have to pray for it. You don't have to wonder that it will come. These questions and queries, they will come. And we just have to have the right mood or spirit to surrender to Krishna's system, which is to take a humble position of being a servant of the Lord, and then you can become a lover of the Lord.
И мы таким образом играем часто роль Арджуны, задавая постоянно вопросы. И решением этому является предаться Кришне, принять убежище Кришны. Тогда у нас есть надежда на спасение.
So everybody is looking for love. Everybody's looking for some kind of relationship. And that relationship will be successful when it comes, when we put emphasis on service to the relationship.
Каждый ищет каких-то отношений любви, и это то, на что мы должны в первую очередь вкладываться.
Yeah, everybody wants a strong relationship in order to build up on the relationship, we need to know what are the likes of the other person. So Krishna gives us some directions in the Bhagavad Gita. What does he like? And what does he dislike?
И чтобы построить крепкие отношения любви, для этого мы должны узнать, что нравится объекту нашей любви, субъекту нашей любви. И Кришна дает на этот счет четкие указания в Бхагавад-гите.
For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, if we go to chapter 16 and text 4 and so many verses thereafter, there's a hint as to what Krishna likes and what he does not like. In text 4, he says, pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of a demoniac nature. And these are, let's say, particular traits that Krishna doesn't like.
К примеру, если мы обратимся к главе 16, тексту 4 и дальше, Кришна описывает качества демонических людей, такие как гордость, надменность, склонность к обману, грубость, невежество. И Кришна говорит, что эти черты ему не нравятся.
And on the other hand, we can appreciate the divine qualities that are listed, of which there are 26. That goes from verse 1, 2, and 3. It starts off with fearlessness, showing purity, let's say being wise, being charitable or generous, having self-control, executing sacrifice, studying the Vedas, being austere, simple, nonviolent, truthful, freedom from anger, renounced, being calm, being averse to fault finding, having compassion for all living entities, being free from want, covetousness, being gentle, being modest or humble, being determined, showing vitality, being energetic and enthusiastic, being forgiving, showing fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy, and freedom from wanting so much honor. Those are 26 qualities that we cultivate, qualities that Krishna likes.
И в 1, 2 и 3 текстах Бхагавад-гиты перечисляется 26 божественных качеств. Это такие как бесстрашие, чистота, мудрость, склонность к благотворительности, самоконтроль, пожертвование, совершение служения пожертвований, отрешенность, изучение вед, правдивость, отсутствие жестокости, отсутствие поиска недостатков в других, сострадание к другим, мягкость, скромность, решительность, энергичность, способность прощать, чистопрядность, чистоплотность, дружелюбие и другие качества. Это все перечисляется.
So our new initiates today, namely Bhakti Natalia and Bhakti Zoya, if they cultivate these qualities, then you cultivate good relationships with devotees and people in general, then you are pleasing Krishna.
И новые инициируемые сегодня Наталья и Зоя, если вы будете развивать эти качества в себе, то вы разовьете очень хорошие отношения с другими преданными и с людьми.
I want to thank you all for listening so much. I hope it helps out.
Хочу поблагодарить вас всех за то, за ваше внимание.
So I'll just ask Gokulananda Prabhu, do you have the japa beads for Natalia there with you?
Okay. Lève-toi.
Okay, so then if you have the japa beads with you, do you mind just holding them on her behalf? And I think Bhakti Zoya has her beads at home, right? That's my understanding. Okay, so Natalia, what we'll ask you to do is if you can go before, well, you can offer your obeisances to Gokulananda, right? He's right there for you. And then you can offer obeisances to Prabhupada, or we'll start with Prabhupada, then we'll go to Gokulananda. Yes, okay? And everybody can chant a little japa in the meantime. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama. And now you can offer, yes. And now you can just offer your obeisance to Gokulananda Prabhu, and which is meant for all the devotees there. Pancha Kalpatarupiyascha Kripasinda. Good, and now you can come this way towards the screen. And Gokulananda will sit right there with you. Okay, so now we're going to, we'll deal with Natalia right now, and then we'll go to Zoya after that. So Natalia, can you tell us what are the 4 regulative principles that you will follow?
Love. I promise don't eat meat. Fish, eggs. I promise no gambling. I promise no sex. And I promise no intoxication.
Okay, I think you said it right. I couldn't hear it very well. Can someone verify?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Gokulananda, do you want to hand the beads to? Okay, first of all, tell us how many rounds will you chant on the beads every day?
I will chant 60 rounds every day.
16.
16.
16. Yeah. If you do 60, that's doing really good. You'll be bypassing us all on the Bhakti highway. Okay, so Natalia, please accept the beads. Okay, thank you, Gokulananda. And we're just going to give you your new Sanskrit name, okay? And that is Ganga Priya Devi Dasi. Ganga.
Yeah.
Haribol, Ganga Priya Devi Dasi. Haribol. Thank you so much. Okay, and then we can ask Zoya to, let's see, I guess I can catch her on the screen. Yes, okay, Zoya, Hare Krishna, how are you? Okay, so now you have the beads with you, correct? Okay, great, you can hold them right there. So, Zoya, can you please tell us what are the 4 regulative principles that you agree to follow in this life?
Hare Krishna. I'm gonna follow 4 principles, which is don't eat meat, eggs, fish. The second is don't use any alcohol or any drugs and things like that. The third, not illegal sex. The 4th is no gambling.
Good, good. I think we said it all. Good. And how many rounds are you going to chant on the beads every day?
Minimum 16 rounds.
16 rounds. Wonderful, wonderful. So Zoya, we would like to give you the name of another famous river in the sacred lands of India, and that is Yamuna Priya Devi Dasi.
Yamuna Priya. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
So that just means that you're dear to these rivers, that you love these rivers. It's understood that this is the liquid form of God, you know. Those rivers are almost as sacred as the St. Lawrence. No, I'm just joking. So it's all about rivers, you know. Thank you. And the beads are going around. Thank you so much. So we would just like to congratulate the two initiates for helping us in Prabhupada's mission. Krishna has you currently in the Montreal Yatra. It is a very vibrant community, and you have lots of good things going for you over there. So things like what we're all experiencing with the pandemic, it is a temporary situation. It's forcing us all to be a little more austere, and that there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually favorable for Krishna consciousness. So Dimitri, whatever I said in the last 15 minutes, you have to translate it now. I'm just
Конечно.
I
Поздравляем
would like to
Гангапри.
thank Dimitri for being such a gentleman and doing such a good job. Isn't he wonderful? So anybody who plays a role in sharing Krishna consciousness, let's say deliberating on the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, they are worshiping Krishna with their intelligence. I don't know if you want to translate that.
В диалоге Кришны и Арджуны мы прославляем Кришну с помощью нашего разума.
Good. So this is coming from Krishna's own words in the Bhagavad Gita. So we should always reflect on this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna and then share it with others.
Мы должны созерцать этот диалог между Кришной и Арджуной и постоянно созерцать это и делиться этим с другими.
So the last verse I'm going to give you, or it's verse 73. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna," yeah, this is where the same Arjuna who was very confused, full of perplexities. Now he's saying, "My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I've regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instruction."
В тексте 2.73 Арджуна говорит Кришне: «О мой Господь, моя иллюзия полностью растворилась, мне вернулось мое сознание, моя память, и я укрепился в твердом намерении и свободен от всяких сомнений следовать тому, чему ты меня наставляешь».
Right. And then the blind king's secretary, Sanjay, says in the next verse that I'm getting so much joy from hearing this conversation that my hairs are standing on end.
И Санджай, ослепший секретарь, который воспринимал этот диалог, он говорит, что мне доставляет настолько неизъяснимое удовольствие быть свидетелем этого диалога, что мои волосы просто встают дыбом.
Of course, this cannot apply to Dimitri because he doesn't have any hairs.
Дмитрию это не относится, у него нет волос.
Okay, so we want to thank you all very much for participating in this very simplified program. I'll leave it to Gokulananda to figure out if there's a fire ceremony coming up, and then devotees can sit in there and be part of just to get that little extra blessing.
Yeah.
Gokulananda.
Good.
All right. So thank you so much, Gokulananda, for making these arrangements, and Samuel and all the other devotees that are with you. We hope you have a very nice winter. Winter is a good time for, planning, preparing, and healing. It's a good time, actually. Good time of the year.
Good.
Okay, I guess I will sign off.
Thank you very
And we stayed in the right time frame, time limit. And all I want to say is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. All right, thank you very much. Hare Hare.
Witness, sharing. Thank you again, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep in close touch. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yeah. We're going to have kirtan.